All right, we're live. Let's go. Kamala Harris's first live event here. Should be exciting. Let's play it here with Oprah. I think Kamala Harris is just about to walk out.
This election. And in no other country on this earth could her story unfold the way it has. From a child of immigrants to big sister to McDonald's worker. There is hope for y'all.
Is that
district
true,
attorney?
Because Donald Trump doesn't
a wife,
think she worked at McDonald's.
And
I don't know.
Kamala to
that's the conspiracy
senator
these days.
To
you know?
vice president. Please welcome Kamala Harris.
You get a call.
So welcome
Oprah.
to hello, Madam Vice President. Hello.
High stakes
welcome to
here
Michigan.
for Kamala.
It's so good to be back. And Governor, thank you
She's
for
actually
everything
live.
you are
This is
and everything
crazy.
you do for this state. Thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
can you see this? We have 1,000
my
screens
goodness.
here
Oh my
representing
goodness.
people from all over the country.
Hi, everyone.
Can you
oh my
feel?
goodness.
Can you
yes.
feel? Can you feel it? Can you feel
I
the
can.
joy rising in here?
I can, and I have to tell you, there's so much that I love about our campaign because it really is about the people. And I look around at these screens, Oprah, I look at who's in the room, and this is America.
This is
America. You know, I was saying with a group of friends earlier, I think in this moment where we've dealt with so much that I think is quite
right into it.
exhausting around powerful forces that would try and divide us and
Yes.
try us to have us as Americans pointing fingers at each other.
Yes.
That this movement that is about reminding each other that we have so much more in common than what separates us is so critically important. And this is about the strength of who we are as Americans. And this movement that we're in about, as I like to say, seeing in the face of a stranger a neighbor.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
An
this is
extension
so
of love
cringe
thy
so
neighbor,
far.
that you literally in the face of a stranger see a neighbor
Yes.
and approach each other with that
Holy.
level of dignity and grace and kindness.
Well, that's exactly what happened with
That
the
was
Win
such
with
a
Black
weird
Women. I know
start.
I've known
What
Joe
was
Taylor for
that?
many years.
There's no
Thank
question.
you, my
That's
dear.
exactly what happened.
Crazy.
Is that
They had this big call.
Oh my gosh, I came into this with an open mind too. I think Kamala
They
might.
had the big call
Actually,
and then
really
said,
good.
let's open the door.
Yeah.
Let's open the door and invite everybody else in, and everybody actually came.
Organically,
Yes.
organically. Like,
Yeah.
this is the beauty of our country. You know, there's so much at stake in this
Zero
election. And ultimately, the question before us is, what kind of country do we want to live in? And the beauty of a democracy, as long as we can hold on to it, the beauty of a democracy is each of us has the power. Each
right.
of us has
That's
the
right.
power
That's right.
to answer that question.
That's right. Everybody
Right?
on this call and beyond has the power. But can I just start with this?
Yes, please.
I have to say this because in all of my private conversations, Gail, and I've said this 100 times,
Yeah.
and everybody is saying it, you all have said it, I know you have. It seems to us that something happened to you the moment Joe Biden, President Biden, stepped aside and withdrew his candidacy, that a veil or something dropped and you just stepped into your power? I mean, literally, looking at you at a speech like the week before, which was a great speech, very nice, and then the next week I saw you walking in the thing, and I said, What happened to you?
You know, we each have those moments in our lives where it's time to step up.
Time to step up.
Time to step up, you know?
Well, the moment you heard,
I
mean, I really have been
necessarily
saying to people,
disagree.
it felt
She
like a
hasn't been-
veil dropped and you sort of stepped
pretty
through
good
that
in, like, her
veil.
speeches.
Did you feel like that?
I felt a sense of responsibility, to be honest with you. And with that comes a sense of purpose. But I mean, we're all here and you all are taking time out of your busy lives, everyone here, everyone on the screen, because there really is so much at stake. You know, I have spent the majority of my career being concerned about the well-being of other people.
Yeah.
As I've said, in my career as a prosecutor, I never looked at a victim or a witness and asked them, are you a Republican or a Democrat? The only thing I ever asked them is, are you okay?
Are you okay? I know when I heard that.
You know?
Touch me.
And traveling this country and knowing what is at stake in terms of fundamental freedoms, what's at stake in terms of fighting against hate and those efforts to divide us. And I do know that I'm in a position to do something about it. So I felt a great responsibility. And the incredible power of the people, right? Who, you know, I'm not the only leader in this. We're all leaders in this. This is so much bigger than me. It's about who we are as Americans. And it's about making clear what we stand for. And what we stand for is, it is about the ideals upon which we were founded, including the importance of freedom and the importance of independence and the importance of dignity and purpose. But it is also about what we stand for in terms of our values. I think of it this way.
It boils down to values. I just said
It really
values are
does.
on the line here.
It does. I mean, think about it, Oprah. The idea that some would suggest, and that my opponent it suggests, which is that the measure of the strength of a leader is based on who you beat down. Come on. The real measure of the strength of a leader is based on who you lift up. And it's important for us.
She sounds like Trump, but she has no jokes. How Trump's
feel
like,
like
doing,
that.
what do you call it,
You know,
the
ever
what
since
is she
the
talking
debate,
about right now?
we feel for our fellow citizens in Springfield. Do you not think about the fellow citizens in Springfield, Ohio, the Haitian families, the non-Haitian families, everybody having to deal with this lie that has endangered the lives of Haitian people and anybody who looks Haitian? Everybody in America feels for that. And everybody in America, left, right, middle, has concerns about immigration.
Yeah.
And I'm told that Justin, where are you in the audience? Justin,
Hello.
in our audience.
Hello, Madam Vice President.
You live in Michigan.
Yes, ma'am.
Don't love saying hello, Madam Vice President.
I do.
What's your question? It's an immigration question. I
Question
was
for
told.
you is, when you become president, what would be your specific steps? Yeah, of course. What would be specific steps to strengthening the border?
So it's a wonderful and important question. You know, my background was as a prosecutor, and I was also the elected attorney general for 2 terms of a border state. So this is not a theoretical issue for me. This is something I've actually worked on.
Okay.
I have prosecuted transnational criminal organizations for the trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings. I take very seriously the importance of having a secure border and ensuring the safety of the American people. Sadly, where we are now can be traced most recently back to the fact that when the United States Congress, members of the Congress, including some of the most conservative Republicans, came up with a border security bill. And here's what that border security bill would have done. It would have put 1,500 more border agents at the border. Let me tell you, those border agents are working around the clock. It would have just been about giving them some support and relief, which is probably why the border agents actually endorsed the bill. It would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl. And I'm looking at people from all over the country here, so I don't need to tell the folks who are watching this what fentanyl has done to families, to kids in our country, and the need to take seriously stemming the flow coming into our country and addressing that extraordinary and tragic issue in terms of its effect. The bill would have allowed us to have more resources to prosecute transnational criminal organizations. And it would have been part of the solution. And Donald Trump called up those folks and said, don't put that bill on the floor for a vote. He blocked the bill, and you know why? Because he'd prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem.
Answer the question, though. You didn't even answer it. What will you do? You just
he
like
has
Trump and Kamala
put
just
his
don't answer questions.
personal political security before border security. Because understand, even in the intervening months, what that bill would have done to give support to folks who care about this issue. And this again gets to the point about what does leadership really look like? And is it about you or is it about the people? Right. Is it about running on problems or fixing problems? My work and my career has always been about saying, let's fix problems. Let's address the needs, because we know it's within our capacity to do that.
So to answer Justin's question, now that that bill has gone and hasn't passed, will you reintroduce that?
Absolutely, and when I am elected President of the United States, I will make sure that bill gets to my desk and I will sign it into law.
Thank you, Justin.
Thank you, Justin.
Listen to this.
Oprah answered that
A majority of young Americans, 18 to 34, say that the cost of living is their top issue ahead of the election. Let's take a look.
Isn't it?
Groceries are extremely expensive right now.
I don't understand how people are affording life right now.
For so many Americans, the high cost of living is their top concern this election.
Rach, we have $435 left until the end of the month. Okay?
The institution.
In Philadelphia, Rachel and Garrett say they have to watch every penny.
When I think of middle class,
okay?
I think about people who are able to just get up and go and do things within their means and like not extravagant things, but be able to get up and go to dinner whenever they want, or maybe take that trip, that long weekend trip. We don't have that luxury.
By a long shot, her tax plan is phenomenal, no glaze.
Kamala Harris
No
just
glaze?
delivered her new economic plan, and
They know
boy,
what that
oh
means?
boy, is it good for small business owners.
Holy
No
shit, you
glaze.
guys. Kamala Harris is going to announce tomorrow a $25,000 tax credit for first-time home buyers.
When I am elected president, I will make it a top priority to bring down costs and increase economic security for all Americans.
Well, Rachel and Garrett
No
are joining
glaze.
us
Did they
on
get that
Zoom
from, like,
from
Aiden
Pennsylvania.
Ross?
And I understand your sister and brother-in-law
They do not
moved
know what
in,
that means.
and you're hoping
Does not
to
mean
save
like a
money
glazed donut.
to have a second child.
That's right. Hi, Oprah. Hi, Madam Vice President. It's nice to be with you all.
Yes.
Hi.
And so, what did you want to say to the vice president?
That is so funny.
So, Madam Vice President, we are, like many, many young Americans, just experiencing a very high cost of living. We ended up giving up our apartment, moving in with our parents, who were so gracious to take us in for over a year so that we could save money and ultimately buy a home, because that's what we thought the American dream was, to get married and buy a home and have a baby. And now here we are, and our mortgage is incredibly higher than what we thought it would be. And my sister and our brother-in-law are living with us right now so that they can hopefully one day do the same. And while it's beneficial for us because they help us pay off some of our mortgage, it's also beneficial for them because they can save on cheaper rent. But we really would love to know what your plan is to help lower the cost of living.
Yeah,
It's actually
first of all,
this is
thank you
gonna be
both
so
for
hard for her
being
to
here.
answer.
And yours is
This is this is the debate
a
moderator.
story I
should
hear
ask
around
stuff like
the
this.
country as I travel. And in terms of both rightly having the right to have aspirations and dreams and ambitions for your family.
And another adjective.
And
hopes.
working hard and finding that the American dream is, for this generation and so many recently, far more elusive than it's been.
Okay.
And we need to deal with that.
Okay.
And there are a number of ways. One is bringing down the cost of everyday necessities, including groceries. So that's why I'm taking on, for example, price gouging. which is when, you know, most companies and corporations are good, but for those bad ones, they take advantage of people, especially during a pandemic or extreme weather, and they end up jacking up prices, and there needs to be accountability and consequence for that. So I'm going to be taking on price gouging. But it's also about dealing with what we need to do around home ownership, right? So as someone mentioned during this film,
that was such a mistake.
Look, I grew up a child of a mother who worked very hard. She raised me and my sister, and she saved up, and by the time I was a teenager, she was able to buy a home. And we grew up actually for a long time in an apartment on top of a child care center that was owned by the woman we called our second mother, because she helped my mother raise us.
So she was
and
a teenager
was a small
and she had a
business
home.
owner,
This is
Miss
the
Shelton.
worst answer I ever heard.
So I'll bring all this together to tell you the way I think about it is, one, when people work hard and have a dream of buying a home, we should give you the opportunity to be able to do that, which is why part of my plan is for first-time homeowners, buyers, to have a $25,000 down payment assistance to buy your first home. Because people just need to be able to get their foot in the door, and then you'll do the hard work. Part of my plan is what we need to do to support small businesses, because my second mother was a small business owner, and I love our small businesses and our small business owners. They are not only business leaders, they are community leaders. They mentor, they hire locally, and we have so many entrepreneurs in our country who have great ideas, incredible work ethic, but not necessarily access to capital, because not everybody, like my opponent, was handed $400 million on a silver plate that he filed bankruptcy 6 times on. And so part of my plan is to give startup small businesses a $50,000 tax deduction to start up their small business. Right now it's $5,000. Nobody can start a small business with $5,000.
Trump.
So that's part of my plan.
That's a teeny tiny business.
That was the worst answer.
Teeny tiny business.
That was crazy bad. Trump answered that question bad. He does a way better job than
you know where I'm going.
Price gouging?
That's right. And
it's still on paper with the $5,000.
And her teenage, I think she was home with her mom maybe, or teenage mom could buy a home.
To speak to you guys and your family and your dreams is what we need to do around giving middle-class families tax breaks. And so part of my plan is also to extend and expand the child tax credit to $6,000 so that you can, in the first year of your child's life, have the resources to be able to buy a crib and a car seat and clothes for your baby, knowing that's such an extraordinarily important time in their development, and you shouldn't have to worry about how you're going to take care of their basic needs. All of this and more is part of what I plan to build, and I call it an opportunity economy. And it's basically about creating opportunities, knowing so many people have the ambition, have the aspirations, are working hard, but just need
the dream,
opportunity to reach their goals and their dreams.
I saw you smiling with that $25,000 credit for the home. I saw that smile on your face and the $6,000. Thank you all so much. I want to just introduce to Shelby, who's also in our virtual audience. Thank you guys. Shelby from Virginia, who's also
that was such an unserious answer. That is, for that couple, that's the biggest issue.
Story,
that's
Shelby,
like their entire world, that question.
Hi.
And they just got gobbledygook.
Hi, Oprah. I'm 24 years old. I'm a graduate student living with my parents, and I want to move out next year and potentially buy a home. And I'm concerned about the affordability of one with the extra costs and bills that I'm paying now, along with the bills and costs I will pay in the future too.
Let's go.
And so everything
question
just
on
has
this.
a cost, and everything is so expensive. And so I'm worried about my capacity and how I'm able to fully support myself once I do live independently.
You sound like one of my daughter girls
This
from
is
South
so
Africa.
much better than the
graduated. She's
ABC
like,
debate already.
I hate adulting.
They just talked about the luxury issues
I hate
that people,
adulting
our
because adulting isn't
institutions, a
going
bunch
so
of people
well.
that
Yes.
own homes.
Well, so first
and have
of
all
all,
their basic needs
congratulations
met.
on
You can,
all
they
the
can
success
worry
you've
about
already achieved.
other things.
And it is your story and the story of our friends before you is really, that's the American story, right? You are working hard, you have goals, you have ambitions, And so part of it is, again, the $25,000 down payment assistance. Part of it is what we need to do to also push back against a very different vision for our country. Because look, in this election, there are two very different visions for our country. One, for me, that is focused on the future, including you, and another that is focused on the past. What Donald Trump, what my opponent plans on doing for the economy is doing what he did the last time he was president and giving another tax break for billionaires and the biggest corporations that would add $5 trillion to our deficit.
And
get this.
You think she cares about this?
Doing what I call a Trump sales tax, which is
this is an answer for a boomer that watches CNN.
He's going to put a 20% tax
on
everyday necessities that economists have estimated will cost the average American $4,000 more a year, which is why Goldman Sachs, which is why Moody's, which is why Wharton School of Business, which is why 16 Nobel laureates have collectively
agree with me.
determined, after analyzing our plans, one, mine would strengthen the economy, his would weaken it. Two, that on his plan, he would actually blow up inflation and invite a recession by the middle of next year. So when you think about the cost of living, my approach is about lifting you up. His would be about actually weakening our economy. And I feel very strongly when an individual, when a small business, when a family, when the middle class is strong, America is strong.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Thank you, Shelby.
Thank
you, Rachel.
Atrocious. That was worse than the other answer.
So
you didn't answer anything about what she said. She wants a house.
Fighting for Reproductive Freedom
She's
bus
living with her
tour
parents.
to support
Oh my
the
goodness.
fundamental right for women to make decisions about our own bodies. And here is a short tape on that.
I did something that nobody
The
thought was
woman that
possible.
just asked you the question lived with her parents.
After Roe v.
She
Wade
needs
was
a better
overturned,
answer than that.
Tennessee put forth a
She has to have some
ban
kind of
immediately
future. This
that
is
banned
just
all abortion with no exceptions.
now you're going to talk about
Abortion bans are
abortion
not
for the next
pro-life.
30
They are
minutes. This issue
pro-poverty,
gets talked about in American politics.
It's been over 2 years since a
4,000
5-4
times a
ruling by
day.
the Supreme Court ended Roe versus Wade,
People are getting
the
just
landmark
totally
case that provided
brainwashed
nearly
into
50
caring
years
about
of abortion
things
rights
when
across
you're
the
missing,
United
like, at least
States.
they actually asked 2 questions on that, on
Since
how the
then,
heck am I going to own
abortions
a
have been
home?
banned in over a dozen states.
But then you
Many
go back
women
to
and
climate
doctors
change
say
and
the limits
abortion
on
and
reproductive
preserving
rights
democracy, a
have
bunch of
forced them
issues
into
that don't affect
unimaginable
everybody.
situations.
Or
These
don't
policies
affect
do
everybody,
not reflect
and
evidence-based
it's not dealing with the
medical
most
practice. They do
important
not
problem.
keep my
People can't
patients
afford to
safe.
live.
According to the
all this
gender
other
equity
stuff
policy, women who live in states where abortion
matters
is
so
banned
much less.
are up
And
to
it, like,
3
if you live
times
in your
more likely to
parents'
die
basement,
during
I guess you could
pregnancy,
get pregnant,
during
but
childbirth, or soon after giving birth.
You got to give some
I
person
nearly
a
died,
path to
all
a
because
good life.
of Donald Trump's Supreme Court justices overturning Roe v. Wade.
So for the millions of you who watched the Democratic National Convention,
I
you
do
will
not even
remember
wanna watch this
Hadley
section. I'll
Duvall
keep it on,
telling
but
her incredibly powerful
issue
story.
gets talked
In
about
case you
4 million
didn't see it,
times.
here's just a brief look.
Growing up, I was an all-American girl. Varsity soccer captain, cheerleading captain, homecoming queen, and survivor. I was raped by my stepfather after years of sexual abuse. At age 12, I took my first pregnancy test, and it was positive.
Hadley is here. Stand up, Hadley. I can tell you, we are all standing up because we are so impressed by your courage to stand up and share your story. Where did that come from, the strength to do this? Because I'm sure you thought long and hard before deciding to go public with your story.
When Roe v. Wade was overturned,
thanks everybody.
I woke up with a harsh reality of my abuse was over, but my story is not. And I just could not fathom thinking about the other Hadleys out there that don't have that choice, that don't have somebody to go to. So being able to find courage and be the light for them, that's really what I do it for.
And so, what do you want to say to other people who are voting in this election regarding what happened to you and what that means?
You can't wait until it's too late to care about reproductive health care, because then it's too late. And when it affects you, it hits, and you can't deny it. You can't look at someone with a story like mine and say it didn't happen. And there are more people like me out there, and there are gonna be so many more who deserve their options. They deserve their choices. Let's get involved. We have someone who's willing to hear us at a level like never before. We have someone who wants to know what we want in this country. We have someone who wants to lift up our voice, and we need to show out and show up for her just like she's showing out and showing up for us.
All right. Is there something you wanted to say to Madam Vice President?
Madam Vice President, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for seeing us, for hearing us when the Supreme Court won't. Thank you for fighting and, really showing us that life is not about the hard things that you go through. You don't bow down, even when you're the underdog, especially when you're the underdog.
That's right.
You stand up and you stand tall, and you give me so much hope and so much strength, and thank you.
Thank you, Hadley, for coming all this way. I hope you continue to use your voice. I hope you continue that. This week, the case of a young woman who lost her life after the abortion ban took place in Georgia made national headlines. Amber's case came to light through the reporting of journalist Kavitha Sarana with ProPublica. And so listen to her story.
2 years ago, 28-year-old Amber Nicole Thurman, a medical assistant and a single mother to a 6-year-old boy, found out she was pregnant. Amber had just secured her own apartment and was thinking about going to nursing school. She made the decision to terminate her pregnancy. A strict abortion ban had recently taken place in her home state of Georgia, which caused Amber to travel to North Carolina for the procedure. Traffic made her miss the appointment, so the clinic gave her medication, what are known as abortion pills. Once back home, Amber experienced profuse bleeding, vomiting, severe pain. She eventually passed out. Her boyfriend called for an ambulance. At the Georgia hospital, Amber's condition deteriorated quickly. In a rare occurrence, it was discovered her body had not expelled all the fetal tissue and an infection was spreading. Official Georgia State medical expert analysis of her case says Amber should have received a life-saving D&C, but doctors waited 20 hours before deciding to take her to surgery. Amber's blood pressure had taken a dive. Her organs had started failing. In the operating room, her heart stopped. On the way to surgery, Amber's last words to her mother were, "Promise me you'll take care of my son."
Amber's mother, Shanette, and older sisters, CJ and Andrika, are here, and they wanted to be here tonight to speak out for the first time. Ms. Shanette, what do you want us to know about Amber's story?
Initially, I did not want the public to know my pain. I wanted to go through in silence, but I realized that it was selfish. I want y'all to know Amber was not a statistic. She was loved by a family, a strong family. And we would have done whatever to get my baby, our baby, the help that she needed. When ProPublica came to my home, I pushed them away. No, but Kavitha, she was persistent. She said, it was something that you needed to know. You have to hear me. Women around the world, people around the world need to know that this was preventable. 2 years later, after speaking with my daughters, because I lost strength, I lost hope, You're looking at a mother that is broken. Mm. The worst pain ever that a mother, that a parent could ever feel. Her father and myself and the family, you're looking at it.
Well, we appreciate so deeply you being here. And we're all watching you hear that tape and those words. We know how re-traumatizing that is and the strength it takes for you to be here to tell your story. And we deeply appreciate it. And I have to ask you, as her sisters, how are you coping? And what does knowing that this could have been prevented, how does that sit with you? How do you cope with that on a daily basis?
I mean, it's heartbreaking. You know, that was my baby sister. I loved my baby sister, you know. I'm beyond hurt, disappointed. I feel guilty. I wish I could have helped her, you know, because she was suffering. Mm-hmm. And we had no idea. We trusted them to take care of her, you know. Mm-hmm. And they just let her die because of some stupid abortion ban. They treated her like she was just another number. Mm-hmm. They didn't care for her as if, you know, she was their daughter or their, you know, granddaughter.
Yeah.
You know, and she's not here. She'll never come back.
Yeah. Andrika, what do you want to say?
I want to say that it's very disheartening that my sister was allowed to suffer for 20 hours. She suffered. It was nothing that we could do to help her. We trusted the healthcare professionals to do their job and save her, but they failed her.
Well, I think the most powerful thing that you've said here, Ms. Jeanette, is that your daughter is not a statistic. She had a life. She was loved by her sisters, loved by her family, loved by those who knew her, and she's not just a statistic. And we are happy to speak her name tonight in this room, talking about what this country needs in terms of reproductive rights and freedom. What do you want to say, Madam Vice President?
I'm just so sorry. And the courage that you all have shown is extraordinary, because also you just learned about how it is that she died. And
they just recently learned, yes.
How?
Yeah.
And Amber's mom shared with me that the word over and over again in her mind is preventable.
Yeah.
Preventable. That word keeps coming to her. Mm-hmm. And this story is a story that is sadly not the only story of what has been happening since these bans have taken place. And, you know, so just to step back in terms of how we got here, the former president chose 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would overdo the protections of Roe v. Wade. Mm-hmm. And they did as he intended, and in state after state, including yours, these abortion bans have been passed that criminalize healthcare providers. In a couple of states, prison for life, Oprah. Prison for life in a couple of states for a doctor or a nurse who provides health care. And so it seems very apparent
even
that
when the mother's life is in danger.
But see, here's the problem with that. Here's the problem with that. So is she on death's door before you actually decide to give her help?
Mm-hmm. That's the problem.
Is that what we're saying?
Yeah. That you've got to prove you're on death's door.
Like literally a doctor or a nurse has to say, she might die any minute, better give her now care. Mm-hmm. Because otherwise I might go to prison for life in some cases. Mm. Think about what we're doing in terms of saying that certain people who are in these state houses, and then starting with the former president of the United States, think they're in a better position than a doctor or a nurse to determine when their patient needs medical care. This literally, and Amber's story, highlights the fact that among everything that is wrong with these bans and what has happened in terms of the overturning of Roe v. Wade, it's a healthcare crisis. It's a healthcare crisis that affects the patient and the profession. And going back to Hadley's story, and Hadley, you've been so remarkable in telling your story and being so strong in the way you do it. And both of these stories really, I mean, the courage for it out of pain, for you to tell these stories to help other people is just extraordinary. And Hadley, you've been so remarkable. You know, Oprah, I don't know if you know this, but when I was in high school, I learned that my best friend was being molested by her stepfather.
Yes, we heard that story on the DNC.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
you had the courage then to go to her and say, you've got to come to our house.
And she came to stay with us. I called my mother, she came to stay with us. And the idea that these same legislators who would be saying, you know, criminalize healthcare providers are also saying that after a person's body has been violated, that they have no right to make a decision about what happens to their body next? That's immoral.
Yeah. I think it's not just immoral. But here's what I want to say. I just don't believe that those legislators, that the government has a right to be in your womb. They have no right to be in your womb with decisions about your womb.
And one does not have to abandon their faith.
Right.
Or deeply held beliefs to agree the government should not be telling her what to do.
Absolutely.
Right? If she chooses, she will talk with her priest, her pastor, her rabbi, her imam, but not the government telling her what's in her best interest.
Well, this is a long healing process for this family. And we thank you, and we hope that by being amongst people who heard you and heard your daughter's story will be meaningful to you in this journey to healing. Thank you so much for being here. Okay, I want to also... Thank you. I want to hear from Star Walker, who is a campaign engagement organizer in Milwaukee, one of my hometowns, Milwaukee. Hi, Star. What's going on in Wisconsin?
Hi, Oprah. Hi, Madam Vice President. We are fired up here in Wisconsin. I'm an engagement organizer, so I work with within their personal networks. As friends, family, teammates. And by empowering people to leverage their relationships, we amplify their voices and deliver progress. We're fired up, but we also know...
Obviously, like, abortion is a real issue and it should be debated. It's just, oh my goodness, American politics, it comes up all the time. I mean, I guess if people want to talk about it, it's going to keep coming up, but it is like... It seems to be the most debated issue. Maybe economy, maybe... I don't think so. It's pretty much abortion as number one. Obviously, those two stories are obviously like very heartbreaking and terrible.
It's a razor-thin race. So just like in 2020, this is going to be won by a field margin. It's on us to roll up our sleeves and do the work. Let's make phone calls and knock on doors. Go to go.kamalaharris.com to join this people-powered movement. That way, when we look back, we won't just be remembering how we felt, we'll be remembering what we did.
Woo! I love that. I love that. Y'all, I love that. That's a big takeaway, because we're all feeling really good right now. But what really matters is, what are we going to do? Absolutely. What are we going to do? Thank you so much, Star. I see somebody else on the screen, Julia Roberts. Hi, Julia.
Hi. Hi.
I heard you were so excited you wanted to be here tonight. Why?
Well, first of all, Oprah, thank you for hosting this, because I guess if I started a voting club, it would be conversationalists for Kamala.
Yes.
Because to talk, to listen, to be heard, to have this back and forth is so unique in this campaign to beautiful, wonderful Kamala Harris, who I've had the good fortune of knowing for many years. And I am a mother of 2 kids. This is their first chance to vote in an election. And I couldn't be more excited for them to have the legacy to say that their first vote they ever cast for president was for you. I have just chills saying that out loud.
Are you all going to the polls together? Are you organizing a party? Are the Motors having a poll party? What's happening?
I wish we were all going together. In fact, you know, they are in college, so we will be separated on the great day, but in spirit united always for what we believe in and what we, you know, I feel like it's interesting. We talk so much about being Americans united for something, but this has become such a global representation of our country and what we stand for. And I get to travel internationally a lot. And I want people to say, oh, you're American? And not, oh, how's it going over there? You know?
Yes.
So I want to get back to that space.
Exactly. Thank you, Julia.
That is so
exactly.
Cringe, why put it on the screen? Well, the multimillionaires are tired of people looking at them funny because it's Trump
coming
in
up there. Tracy, we should now listen. If anybody should
Oh
have a
my
voting
gosh,
party,
why did she even
I think
talk?
it should be at your house because you have great parties, girl.
I just want to say hi, hello, Madam Vice President. It's just an honor. I actually have never met you, which is crazy. And hi, Oprah. Wait, what did I miss?
We just saw each other the other day. Okay. Oh, hi, Tracy. Hi.
Hi, Oprah. How you doing?
Hi, good. Yeah. This is exciting, though, isn't it? Isn't it exciting?
It's exciting. It's exciting because I believe in democracy. I believe in the future of our country, in reproductive freedom, bodily autonomy, women leading. I believe in decency. The idea of leading with joy and kindness has always been in my DNA. And I'm here both for the seriousness of this election, but the joy with which it is being handled. It is stunning. And then I also really want to remind everybody, it hasn't been mentioned, but voting up and down the ballot is incredibly important. Your freedom and your daily life are all the way up and down that ballot. People are policies, and we need the right people in all areas, all positions. And then I would like to say to you 2 women, thank you for what you represent, because as a 52-year-old childless woman, I want to say to the people who think that a woman's worth is measured in her baby count, I mean, shout out to all the amazing mothers, but the childless women have been mothering the world and elevating culture as aunties, godmothers, teachers, mentors, sisters, and friends, and the list goes on. And you do not need to push out a baby to help push humanity forward.
Amen to that. Thank you so much, Tracy Ellis Ross. Thank you so much. So another important issue this election is, of course, our safety. And just 2 weeks ago, our country experienced yet another horrific school shooting. Watch this.
That J.D. Vance
10:30 a.m. at Robb Elementary in Uvalde. The school is recognizing my 10-year-old daughter, Lexi, for receiving all A's. 30 minutes later, a gunman murders her, 18 classmates and 2 teachers.
In the last 25 years, there have been 417 school shootings in the United States, and more than 383,000 students have experienced gun violence while at school.
More children and adolescents are killed by guns each year than anything else nationwide.
I guess it's just like a live stream, but it's been...
Just 2 weeks ago, Appalachia High School in Winder, Georgia, became the latest area to face every parent's worst nightmare.
Tonight, breaking news as we come on the air, the deadly high school shooting, 2 students and 2 teachers killed. Police and parents racing to the scene outside Atlanta.
Oh my goodness. There is a shooting at my granddaughter's school.
We had to
drag our teacher's body into the
Watch a
classroom.
Trump rally, though,
We heard him take his last
he
breath.
talks about immigration every 5 seconds, so I guess this is like the Kamala
We live in a
version of that. This is
country
pretty
where
pretty heavy
383,000
segment.
children
This whole episode has been heavy
have
so
been
far, except for the
exposed to
very
gun
beginning.
violence. Now just sit with that number for a second. It's a number until it's your child. This is not normal, y'all.
Yep.
This is not normal, and this is not right. Other people in other countries do not have this issue. We, Americans, we have to do better. We have to do better.
Oprah is still like
We
so good on
cannot
camera.
continue to just settle for
The way she's
our thoughts
keeping this
and
whole thing kinda
prayers.
running and everything.
Lives
She's
are being
up to such a
destroyed.
point.
15-year-old Natalie Griffith and her parents,
Not that I agree
Doug
with
and
her politics
Marilda,
probably in general,
are
but-
here. And Natalie, we are so sorry to know that you too have been added to that number because you were in algebra class when you were shot twice by a 14-year-old fellow student. We're so glad that you lived to tell your story. And so how are you tonight?
Well, before that thing, the video, I was very happy. I still am very happy to be here and to tell my story and what happened, because it was a terrible thing, and it should not have. What's it called?
Where were you shot? Where were you
I was
physically shot?
Right here on my shoulder, and then around here, right wrist.
I was saying
my
that
wrist.
383,000 students in our country, the United States of America, have been exposed to violence. That same scene that you experienced in your school. Had you all been having, drills or preparation for what
Yes.
should happen? Should there be a shooting?
I've had intruder drills and fire drills and stuff. In my old schools, we've had a fire drill at Appalachia, but it was the first 2 months of the school year. We hadn't had an intruder drill yet, so we weren't even completely sure where to go in the classroom. We all just, I remember being like huddled.
So I was watching your mother, even just when that tape was coming on. It's still very much PTSD, very much traumatic. You're still reliving it. And how has it been for you? How were you notified that there was a shooting at the school?
I was notified by a friend. She called me, I was at work. And she called me and she said, "Do you know about the shooting?" With the school that she goes to, the Appalachia. I said, "No, I don't." And then she said there was a shooting at the Appalachia High School. My heart just dropped. My heart just got so heavy and I could not stop. I had to leave. I told my coworkers, I gotta go, I have to leave. And my first thing I did is drop my knee on the floor and just start praying. I prayed for about 30 minutes for my work all the way to the school. I didn't get to the school on my car. I had to leave my car at a gas station about maybe 2.5, 3 miles. And I walked on foot and I ran because my heart was so heavy. I couldn't get to touch with my daughter.
And I hear you have a message for people in power regarding guns now.
I do. I want to finish that story because no parent should go through this. I want to just finish what, the experience. You do not know what feels until it's you.
Yes.
All those numbers that you show on the TV, a lot of people, they're here are mothers. What are we doing about this? What are we doing? Let's make sure that everybody listens. Let's make sure that everybody hears it. The whole world needs to hear that we women that have our children, we have a job. That job is to protect our children. That job is to protect our nation. That job is to protect our country. We cannot leave. We cannot let that go on. We have to stop it. You know, where I was asking earlier, where are those people? All the shooting, where are they? They needed to make a noise. I'm ready to make a noise about this, and I'm ready to stop it, because no one knows what feels when you can't find your child, when you call her and you call her just not answering. When I went through it, you know, it's just me that knows it. And I'm sure, I'm so sorry for those that lost, the children actually died. I can actually hug my child. My child is here, and I gave all this praise to the Lord. Our Father in heaven saved my child. You know, but the other two mothers, they lost their kids, and the other teachers that died. You know, those people are suffering like I'm suffering. I'm very sorry for them. I'm very sorry that they lost their loved ones.
And you have a message for the people in power.
Yes, the people in power. Let's make it a change. Let's make it happen. Let's make, you know, let's just not hear about this. Who wants to just hear about this? We gotta change it. We gotta make it happen, you know?
And Doug, I hear you're not a registered Democrat, but you now say it doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on when it comes to this issue. What change do you want to see now that it has affected your family?
You know, common sense, you know, I think the first step would just be metal detectors in schools. You know, make a budget, make a plan. And the people that say, well, we've never really done stuff like that before, I don't care. You know, they didn't have metal detectors at airports at one time. You know, they didn't have metal detectors at courthouses. They, you know, I think that if a child knew that he would get caught, the likelihood of him trying would be, there may be another target, but it wouldn't be us having to worry about schools being hardened.
Yeah.
Or, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I think that Doug has said it so eloquently, which is we just need to apply common sense. And look, I think for far too long on the issue of gun violence, some people have been pushing a really false choice to suggest you're either in favor of the Second Amendment or you want to take everyone's guns away. I'm in favor of the Second Amendment, and I'm in favor of assault weapons bans, universal background checks, red flag laws. And these are just common sense. These are just common sense.
I thought it was so powerful at the convention when you said you have guns. No, at the debate. At the debate,
I'm a gun owner. Tim Walz is a gun.
I did not know that.
If somebody breaks in my house, they're getting shot.
Yes. I hear that. I hear that.
Probably should not have said that.
But
my staff will deal with that later.
Yeah. But you have been a gun owner for a while.
Yes, I have.
Yes.
But here's my point, Oprah, is that I'm not trying to take everyone's guns away. I believe in the Second Amendment, but we have to agree that, look, I did last fall a college tour with college-age young people, so I also did trade schools. And packed audience every time in their auditorium, and I would ask, please raise your hand if at any point between kindergarten and 12th grade you had to endure an active shooter drill. Almost every hand went up. It was bone-chilling.
Yeah, this is the way our kids are living. Yeah.
And think about it. You know, I grew up, we had fire drills only. Well, I grew up in California, we also had earthquake drills, but the fact that our children are sitting in a classroom where they should be fulfilling their God-given potential and exploring the wonders of the world, and some part of their brain realizes somebody could bust through that classroom door with a weapon, with an assault weapon. And let's all agree that the trauma, so many children, even those who have not directly experienced the tragedy.
Just being in the environment. Being in the environment.
I cannot tell you the number of young people who, I mean, our kids had active shooter drills. They're concerned that there might be somebody who would kill them while they are at school. this is not the sign of a civil society, and it doesn't have to be this way. It does not have to be this way. But we need to have the courage to act. I mean, look, my opponent, when he was told and knew about a shooting of a young girl, you know what he said? Get over it. Get over it. No, we're not getting over it. No, and to the point, everyone should have a sense of collective responsibility for the children of our community.
Yes.
And understand their right to live and be safe. I have personally prosecuted homicide cases. I know, I've seen autopsies. I've seen what these weapons do to the human body. And we've got to agree that, in particular when we're talking about something like an assault weapon, it's literally designed to be a tool of war. It has no place on the streets of a civil society. It's designed to kill a lot of human beings quickly. And there are things we can do. I mean, thankfully, over the last 3 years, we've done some, but it is common sense.
It just seems like common sense we would see this.
I think
I think that the majority of Americans agree with you that we do not want assault weapons in the hands of children and other people who have no business with those types of weapons.
Right.
We know this is true. So we thank you, Natalie, and your family for being here. And good luck in that marching band this year. I hear you're going to go out for the marching band still.
Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, it's a sad moment for us, but I wanted to make sure that, we came because we needed to be heard. And we needed to, change has to be made, and we're ready to fight for this.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we want to hear what's going on in another battleground state. Tracy is a regional organizing director in Nevada. Tracy, tell us how things are going for you. Hi.
Hi, everybody. I'm Tracy Lee, a regional organizing director in Nevada. I am the Silver State this year because there's so much on the line. From healthcare to lowering costs, these issues impact all of us. My team and I have been building relationships with voters across this state because here in Nevada, we know that enthusiasm alone does not win campaigns. Organizing does. So all of you watching tonight can become organizers, whether you talk to your sister, a roommate, or a grandparent about why you're so excited to vote for Vice President Harris. You are organizing and energizing other supporters. So please go to go.kamalaharris.com to find ways to help and enjoy the rest of tonight's event, and let's get to work.
Let's get to work. Let's do something. Meryl Streep, hello. You and I. Hi, Meryl Streep. You and I have talked about this moment.
Hi.
How are you feeling? How are you feeling about the momentum?
Oh, man. This has been overwhelming to have the privilege to sit in and listen to the testimony of the people here. Hello, President Harris.
Not yet. "47 days.
47 days, yes.
From my mouth to God's ear. And hello, Oprah. I think the word of the day has been preventable. Preventable. All of this. The surround of hatred and venom and toxicity and encouraging some segment of Americans to hate other segment of Americans. It's just crazy, and nobody wants it. We're done.
That's right.
We're done with it. I wanted to ask you, I can't believe I have this opportunity. I probably never will again. If I have a little Debbie Downer moment, because actually, I think you're going to win. I'm sure you're going to win. Yeah. But what happens when you win and he doesn't accept it? And you know that there's going to be this long slog of shenanigans. And I'm wondering how we get to that moment, how we preserve certification on January 6th. Because if it doesn't happen, it'll be maybe thrown back to the legislatures of the states. And I've been working with
Of course, this
state
is what she
government
wants to
citizens
ask. Their little dinner party question.
campaign, which is sgcamerica.com. So they're great. They're doing the unglamorous down ballot work of promoting those candidates, because I'm worried about it, and I wonder if we're ready for January 7th, 8th, 9th, and what happens? What happens?
So we will be ready, but just taking a step back, and thank you, Marilyn, for just the gift that you give, your talent, your creativity. Thank you for being here. One of the things that I have realized in the course of our campaign is that more Americans than we may realize who voted for Trump before have decided January 6th was just a bridge too far. When we reflect and think about what January 6th was, where the President of the United States, sitting in the Oval Office, incited a mob, a violent mob, to attack the United States Capitol, such that 140 law enforcement officers were injured, some were killed. To try and upend a free and fair election where the American people voted,
yeah, we know what happened.
That was a bridge too far for a lot of people. And we have sadly now seen how far he could go. And I think there is absolutely no tolerance whatsoever for the vast majority of Americans for that. And they've seen the lies. They understand, for example, almost every court case, I think every court case where he's challenged an election, he lost. I said on the debate stage, look, because he's having a very difficult time, obviously, processing the fact that 81 million people fired him, right?
You're fired.
But, so there is that it really was a bridge too far for so many people that they are not willing to repeat. But the other piece of it is the lawyers are working. It's very important that we all speak to our friends and our neighbors about misinformation and help them now see how it occurs, where it is occurring. It is important that we stand up for the integrity of poll workers and people who are working on election day. And that we also, and this is critically important, that we ask people to be alert about mis and disinformation, and we ask them, do not be afraid to vote. Because I think there is also something quite insidious about these attacks.
Fall asleep in the center.
On the electorate in these various forms that are intended to convince people that their vote won't matter. And in that way, there's a little bit of reverse psychology going on here, and let's just make sure nobody falls for it. Your vote does matter, and we cannot let anyone ever take our power from us. We can never let anybody silence us. And when we get those votes out, starting soon, early voting is already going to start this week, I think, through November 5th. And let's make sure everyone votes. And we are going to have a good election day. We're going to fight for the integrity of the people's voice and for our democracy. And, you know, I'll just mention earlier, a couple of folks talked about what this means in terms of the world. You know, as vice president, I've met over 150 world leaders, presidents, prime ministers, chancellors, and kings. And the thing about representing the United States of America is when we walk in those rooms around the world, we have historically and traditionally been able to walk in those rooms, chin up, shoulders back, with the self-appointed and earned authority to talk about the importance of democracies.
Oh my God.
People around the world are watching right now.
This is so out of touch, man.
Because you see, the thing about walking into a room and being a role model,
the boomers
people watch
and like
what you do.
Silent generation
with what
are
you say.
unbelievable as a
and
group
in that way,
general.
the consequences of this election are directly
Look how much more
going to impact the American people.
Interested she is in
and
talking about this
people
than
around
she
the
was
world.
about the housing prices.
That's
She had
what
no
we're
clue what to
fighting
say
for, and those are the
at
stakes.
all.
And that's why we're going to win, because we know what we're fighting for.
They want to talk about these
because
little
we know what
issues.
we
They talk
stand
about their
for.
dinner parties where they're all rich.
Thank you, Meryl.
And they have all their basic needs taken care of for sure. No stress in that regard.
Thank you,
And
Meryl.
they get on here and talk about this vague democracy.
What is
and
on your heart to
It was
say to the
embarrassing when I
American
traveled to
people
tell
as
people I
we
was
have
from America.
47 days.
Ridiculous.
Until November 5th. What's on your heart?
They don't even think about the
We'll say
first two
that particularly
questions. How to
those
deal
people
with
who
the
are
high price
still,
for young people,
undecided,
for people that aren't
or
rich.
maybe indifferent, or on the fence still.
Care about democracy.
We love our country. I love our country. I know we all do. That's
Love
why
our
everybody's here right
country.
now. We love our country. We take pride in the privilege of being American. And this is a moment where we can and must come together as Americans, understanding we have so much more in common than what separates us. Let's come together with the character that we are so proud of about who we are, which is we are an optimistic people. We are an optimistic people. Americans, by character, are people who have dreams and ambitions and aspirations. We believe in what is possible. We believe in what can be. And we believe in fighting for that. That's how we came into being. Because the people before us understood that one of the greatest expressions for the love of our country, one of the greatest expressions of patriotism, is to fight for the ideals of who we are, which includes freedom to make decisions about your own body, freedom to be safe from gun violence, freedom to have access to the ballot box, freedom to be who you are and just be, to love who you love openly and with pride, freedom to just be.
Unburdened by what has been.
And that's who we are. We believe in all that. And so this is a moment where we stand knowing what we are fighting for. We're not fighting against.
This is crazy.
It's what we're fighting for.
Thank you.
What did she say there? What was that? Oh my goodness, man.
And I want to say,
does anyone like?
Thank you, Madam Vice President. I also want to say
That made no. That was nothing.
Thank
Be
you.
what you
You
want
don't
to be.
take
What
it.
was that? The nursery rhyme?
Who started the gatherings on Zoom and all of the grassroots. Now, each of you listening tonight, you become your own grassroots organization to go forward and do something, coming together for the largest Zoom call we've all ever had. Thank you so much. And I just want to say, for all of you watching who are still on the fence, you're in the middle, you're independent as I am, or whether you're just still don't know what you're going to do. This is the moment
I somehow
for
don't
all
believe that.
decent people, all
Independent,
caring
but only
people
votes for Democrats.
who want the best for yourself and you want the best for other people. This is the moment for people who are tired of all of the bickering and all of the name calling, people who are exhausted by the craziness and the made up stories and the conspiracies. This is the moment. You want to get on with your life because you know that we can do better and that we deserve better. You know this. I know you know this. I know you feel this. I know this is what you're saying amongst yourselves. It's in all the conversations that we're having, that you're having. And we're better than this. We're better. We're better. And we want to create a world where our children will be safe in school again, And as my friend and mentor Maya Angelou always said, when you know better, you got to do better. Thank you. So let's do better and vote for Kamala Harris. Thank you to all of our special guests. Thank you for sharing your stories, for being here, Ms. Shanette. Vice President Harris, we thank you. We hope you keep fighting for us and the country we deserve to have. Thank you so much. Thank you. To find out more about how you can register or where you can vote, go to iwillvote.com. Good night, everybody. Thank you on Zoom.
I guess it wasn't like a town hall, but there was really 3 questions, and then Meryl Streep asked that question about what to do about if the election doesn't go smoothly.
I'll make sure that.
I think that's it. The other questions about the abortion and the gun violence, so comment section. I don't know. I probably wouldn't have watched that, to be honest, if I knew it would be like that. That would be more of the town hall and kind of more interesting stuff. But the first 20 minutes was entertaining because you got to see how Kamala dealt with the questions around the 2 on the economy. Those 2 back-to-back questions on the economy, that was an interesting 10 minutes. Those were better questions than I think the entire pretty much like then the ABC or moderators. Those were actually better questions. Back-to-back questions about, hey, we can't afford housing. That's like the real story. That's what politics should be mostly about. How to deal with the issues that are affecting the most amount of people in their day-to-day lives. That obviously does not happen. They talk like that thing what Julia Roberts said, how when I'm overseas, it's embarrassing to tell people I'm American. Get over it, lady. That is so frustrating. That is completely embarrassing. You just complain about that to like your husband or your friends on a national platform, this huge live stream. Come out there and bicker about that? Are you joking? You said like Julia Roberts sounded like such a crybaby there. Just every part of my day is perfect. I have all these people working for me. I get everything I want, everything I want to eat, all my favorite clothes, Four Seasons Hotel. But sometimes when I tell people I'm from America, I get a funny look. And can you fix that, Kamala? That's literally pretty much what she said. I'm not even really exaggerating that much with the sentiment of that question. And then Meryl Streep, of course, again, another person that has all their basic needs taken care of. Let's not ask a question with other people in mind. Why would I do that? Why would I be selfless? I'm going to make this all about me. And because when I go to dinner parties, and I'm just guessing here, we like to talk about how crappy Donald Trump is and how bad January 6th was. We've been talking about that for 4 years. So what are we going to do about that? I'm not going to ask you a question about how to deal with the health care, how people in America, a lot of people can't afford health care, or ask you about why the obesity rate's gotten so out of control and why so many people have so much chronic disease, or how wages aren't rising nearly as much as they are for people that are rich. But I'm going to ask you about this little thing that's annoying me at dinner parties. So, yeah, the later part of that stream, whatever you want to call this event, was the worst. The middle part was obviously emotional. I didn't really have any comment on that. And to be honest, I don't necessarily think that that's unfair to bring that stuff up, because I mean, it's just a part of politics. Those are sad stories. And certainly if you compare it to like the other side, Donald Trump's certainly not above doing that. And I think it's fine to bring that stuff up. It's a real part of American politics and politics in general. So yeah, but I think I'll end the stream there. At least the first 3 questions. There was a question on illegal immigration, and then 2 back-to-back on economy. probably the last 40 minutes of the stream where I probably wouldn't have watched if I knew it was that. But anyway, if you come this far, thank you for watching, and like and subscribe. Excuse me, like and subscribe. Have a great day.